A long time ago, Bethlehem was served by public drinking fountains. They were designed and intended to slake the thirst of both man and beast. And long before there were public safety concerns on the subject, these public fountains were common not only in Bethlehem, but in towns across the country. By the 20th century, these fountains were considered as old-fashioned at best and as serious health hazards at worst. As these fountains fell from favor, they began to disappear. Some were merely put out of commission or moved to other public locations, while others went into warehouses where they were forgotten for decades. Fortunately, here in Bethlehem, none of them were destroyed. As times changed, and when Bethlehem started to consider rehabilitating its downtown around a Victorian theme, these fountains were rediscovered. And although they're no longer functional, they do provide handsome accents to Main Street. And as always, there are interesting stories about the fountains. At Richardson Fountain. This was bequeathed to the village of Bethlehem by a wealthy widow by the name of Eliza Richardson. It served along Main Street in front of the busy Sun Inn from 1884 until about 1954, when modern businessmen of the day felt that it was an eyesore and old-fashioned. The fountain was moved to Elmwood Park. Eventually, it was dismantled and placed into storage. When it was in use, one side of the fountain was for horses, the other side is for people. Today, the fountain is on the other side of Main Street at the foot of Walnut. Next up is the public school fountain. This one dates to around 1910 or 1911, and it was originally placed at 5 Points on the south side. This was a prime location, but it only became problematic once automobiles became prevalent in the following decades. The fountain became a traffic hazard and eventually was moved to the South Mountain Reservoir by the 1940s. In its heyday, at the original location at 5 Points, it was perfectly located because it was on a primary route between Bethlehem and all points south. It became a favorite and welcome station for horse-drawn carriages of that period. Today, the fountain is positioned near the Hotel Bethlehem, and it's used as a planter. The youngest fountain was strictly for humans, and it dates to 1920. As you may guess, the so-called Temperance Fountain was donated by the women's temperance movement. They were strong advocates for prohibition during the period of the 1920s. This fountain was placed at the north end of the old New Street Bridge, and it was intended to slake the thirst of steelworkers as they passed by. When the Redevelopment Authority began to clear the property for the city center, this fountain was moved to 2nd Avenue and West Broad, where it remained until the 1970s. Today, the Temperance Fountain is located at the southeast corner of Broad and Main.